Time is now 7:02. I will call the Common Council meeting to order. Can we have roll call, please?
Iverson.
Here.
Schatzinger.
Here.
Hanson.
Here.
Gallup. Kane.
Here.
Gatsky.
Here.
Sorensen.
Here.
Split.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, I ask that you grant all of our leaders here wisdom, insight, courage, curiosity, creativity, open-mindedness, open hearts, and respect. Grant all of us citizens the ability to respect them as leaders and all the energy they're putting into it. Bless what they do. Let us all together serve the greater good. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
All right. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Move to approve.
Second. And moved by Howard, seconded by Jonathan. Any discussion?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. On the, I guess it's the financial report?
This is the agenda approval.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead. Yeah, no discussion.
Okay.
Sorry.
Anyone else? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Do we have any public comment? Okay, moving on. All right, next is the accepting the informal reports from standing committees and staff. Doug, did you want to pull one right away?
Yeah, I'd like to pull the city financial report.
Just this financial?
Yep, that's it.
Is there a motion to approve items 1 through 8?
I'll make a motion to approve items 1 through 8 on the information reports from the standing committees and staff.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion on approving items 1 through 8? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Doug?
Okay, I have a couple questions on it. I've noticed there's a V sometimes after some of the check amounts. Can someone tell me what the V is for? Void, got it. Okay, thanks. I also have a question about, this is TRC lockbox. What's that for?
TRC lockbox is a payment we make to handle all expenses for our lovely Superfund site.
Oh, okay.
So you see those regularly. It's an expensive venture. So annually what happens is the city pay out everything through TRC Lockbox, it's called. We have a company that manages that all for us, an engineering firm. They go do testing, sampling, all that out at those areas. And then at the beginning of every year, at the end of every year, we bill out to the responsible parties to collect some of that money back. We're like a percentage of it, but it's a significant cost that we deal with annually, and depending on, the ongoing, contaminants and whatnot out at the Superfund.
Okay. Also, City of Appleton was for...
City of Appleton is weights and measures, so they do our weights and measures program for us. So we just contract with them, and it's pretty, they do a nice job. They meet with us about once a year and evaluate everything, and yep.
Okay, I thought that's what that was for.
And those charges are passed through on tax assessments.
Right.
Or bill them. I think we
No,
bill.
those are billed.
Those are billed, yeah.
Those are billed. Fire's
Okay,
tax.
and then there was one for Graber Manufacturing, Inc.?
Graber Manufacturing Inc., that was the second payment. We received all of our goods for the downtown streetscape project. So that was flower pots and all that. There's another one there too, in there probably for Keystone Design. That was another big one. That was all the benches. So all those are in, as well as one from Tapco's in there. So at the end of the year, finally, we got everything for that project. So they build out everything for that. So we're putting in storage, and we may start putting benches out. Hopefully, if it doesn't snow, it's something we can do.
Okay, and just a couple more. I mean, I see the Packer City International truck, that's for our plow truck, correct?
That's Rudolph. Yep, that's what we named. Yep.
Okay, and then Calumet County Treasurer.
Calumet County Treasurer.
It's not much, but it just seemed odd why we would be sending him some money.
You don't know?
I can't remember. Would it be something for a court filing or?
Yeah, it could be.
I will. You know, Doug, I was prepared for you tonight.
Okay, well, I got one more than the Fond du Lac County one.
Which one?
Fond du Lac County for $7,324.80.
That was salt.
Salt, okay, good. And then McQueen Equipment on the last page.
McQueen equipment, those are brushes for
Okay.
a sweeper and whatnot.
Okay, well, that's all I have, so.
I just have one question. It's regarding the overall revenue, regarding year-to-date actual versus the budget. It looks like we are at 59% of the revenue. Are we expecting an additional deposit of revenue?
If you look at the revenue there if you're looking at general fund? Yep. The big missing one is, as you see here, taxes. It's only been 34,000, so about 2 million short. So yes, we settle out and that all gets reallocated and accounted for.
After?
Yes.
Okay, this is my first time through with the city budget, so that was my question. Thank you.
Anyone else? Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the financial report?
I'll make a motion to approve the financial report.
Is there a second?
Second.
And moved by Doug, seconded by John. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the financial report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Next is the consent calendar. Is there a motion to approve the calendar as published?
I move we approve the calendar as published.
Second.
Moved by Ellen, seconded by John. Any discussion on the consent calendar? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the consent calendar, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Moving into our first action item, which is the Public Works Facility Project, proposal for design and construction services. Adam?
All right, so at our last meeting in December, there's direction provided to me to work with SEH to discuss or provide a proposal regarding the design, engineering, and architecture of a potential public works facility. Trevor Frank is here today. He submitted a proposal to you all. Trevor can step up and talk about the proposal or just answer questions. It was in your packet. Overall, there's a letter, there's a discussion of how they would approach the project design, and then ultimately a timeline and a rough estimate for the overall design and engineering. So that would be $482,750. That is under what was originally prescribed in the master planning document by 70 or 80,000, I believe, somewhere in that range. And then the only other thing I would note is that, this would be a project where, we would design, engineer. Phase one, it would be considered. So in kind of the master planning process, that was replacing the garage while keeping in a space, and then demoing the old facility. So this would not be the grand, large project. This would be phase one, which would hopefully satisfy a lot of the problems, but would be phase one and then demo.
I move that, just to get this on the floor for discussion, I move we accept the proposal for design and construction services. Well, do you want me to read the whole thing, Lloyd?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was trying to take a shortcut there.
You got it.
I move that we accept the proposal for design and construction services SCH has submitted for design, engineering, and construction-related services for the construction of a new public works facility per the enclosed proposal with an estimated fee of $482,750.
Second that.
Been moved by Ellen, seconded by Howard. Any discussion or questions?
Somebody's got to have a question. He's
You want that?
I know we got an awful lot of this
Is
information from
Mr.
their
Is Mr.
presentation.
Frank here?
Yes.
Right behind you.
Maybe you want to just chat for a little bit. That will maybe give some additional.
I would be happy to. Adam recapped basically the contents of our proposal. As he mentioned, the recommendation that I put in front of you as part of the report back at the end of November was that the city should seriously consider replacement of the DPW facility. And obviously, you've taken that to heart by asking for the next step in that process, which is the design piece of this. And so we've provided a proposal for that. A clarification also, or in addition to what Adam had mentioned in terms of how the project will progress, our proposal also includes services for the environmental design for the demolition and any potential investigation work that would be necessary once we take the old building down. So the new building would be commissioned, they'd be moved in, they'd be operational in there, and then we'd do some environmental investigation, and we'd write our demolition report to make sure that we're tracking where all the demolished materials are going, if there's any hazardous material. And then that building would be taken down, and then phase 2 of that facility, which is, as Adam mentioned, in a future phase in future years, would make way for that addition to what is planned north of that, to expand that existing facility as you needed to grow into that in the future.
I have a question. So you're talking about taking it down. What if there's remediation that's needed?
We'll identify any hazardous materials in the environmental reporting that happens before then. And then it would be the city's responsibility to remediate anything that was part of the demolition, i.e. asbestos, lead, anything that's friable or movable, anything that might be in the ground. Again, you'd be responsible for that cleanup, but at least you'd have an understanding of what the limits of that investigation are going into that demolition.
Thank you for that clarification. I just wanted the public to understand that sometimes these projects aren't that easy.
Especially in a facility of that age. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But at least going in, your eyes are wide open before the wrecking ball shows up, and then it's, oh, we hauled that to the wrong place and we shouldn't have done that, right?
Thank you.
Any further questions or discussion? Doug?
Will you be doing the work here in Ripon, or will you just be sending a team up here to survey the area, and then the design will be completed someplace else and you'll bring it forward to us? How does that really work?
Yep. So how it works is we start with a kickoff meeting, and we get the main project team, both representatives from the city of Ripon and members of our design project team together. We have a discussion on the schedule and key milestone dates for deliverables and what those deliverables are. And then there's, over the course of the next, we call it the discovery phase, but over the course of the next month or so, we've got mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineers, architects, civil engineers, surveyors that'll be visiting the site periodically to gather that field data or information. And then they go back to their respective offices and work on it. I'm out of the Appleton office, so I would be coming from that location, as well as my entire architecture team, who I believe some of you have met in the reporting phases, are all stationed out of Appleton. Our surveyor comes from Delafield, our civil engineers in Appleton, so it's a mix of people coming from different areas in the state, but basically within an hour, hour and a half drive of Ripon. Only time we'd be quote-unquote on-site is when we're doing some of that field work, as I mentioned, survey work, observations, that type of thing, environmental identifications, those types of things.
Okay, well, thank you.
Anyone else?
I appreciate the focus on stakeholders. You mentioned that you're going to have bi-weekly virtual visits with the team. Can you describe also a little bit more about what we can expect as a council as far as updates in your work in the community?
Yeah, so the way that we have this structured is as we're designing at key milestones, there's opportunities for one, checking the budget against the design. So we have professional cost estimators that live in the construction world and will help us identify costs at 30% of design, 60% of design, and just before we go out for bid, so that we can make course corrections as we're designing, so we're not over-designing to find out, whoops, we got to go back and redesign. We're anticipating, and I haven't worked through an entire schedule yet with Adam, that comes in the kickoff meeting, but that there would be updates to council as we're moving through those milestones. So 30%, 60%, just before we go out for bid, to let you all know that we're tracking to budget and what to expect in the next month or so once the bids are received. So there'll be periodic updates to you in terms of that. Plus, the bi-weekly check-ins are really the main representatives from the Ripon team and the consultant teams. And I'm sure from there, if Adam wanted to pull a meeting note anywhere along the course of those bi-weekly meetings, he could add it to your pack just to kind of give you an update on, hey, what are you guys talking about?
Anyone else? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
One last call. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the proposal for design and construction services submitted by SEH for the estimated fee of $482,750, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Be in touch, Adam. Kickoff meeting.
Yeah, we'll get that on the calendar.
Great. Good night, all.
Well, good night. All right, next item is approval of an alcohol beverage license requested for the remainder of the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023 for fermented malt beverages and or intoxicating liquor for Fabian Bowling and Entertainment, otherwise known as Plaza Bowl. Is there a motion to approve this license?
Make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Howard, seconded by John. Helen?
In reviewing the application, there are two questions that have not been answered by the applicant. Is the applicant here?
Yes. Please step forward.
First question, do you want to look at this? The first question I have is number 5. Are you a new owner?
I am a new owner,
Who was
yes.
the previous owner that was not?
Stellar Premier LLC.
Okay. So, Lud, is it okay if this
At
is...
this meeting, he
Yes,
amends it.
that we... Okay.
Yep,
It's
before you take
Stella.
action.
Stellar, Stellar, Premier LLC.
Okay, thanks. And then the second question that is not answered is number 6.
I have completed training at the time I filled it out. I had not. So I have completed it and I have turned in the appropriate documentation to the city clerk.
So how do we answer the question? Yes or no?
As of the date of this hearing, at this meeting, which is the approval period, he has taken the course.
Okay.
So he can
Okay.
answer that in the affirmative, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being here.
Oh, no problem.
Before you sit down, is it appropriate to ask, is there anything more you want to say about your,
My background?
yeah, or your business, or your,
Okay. Well, I'm happy to be here in Ripon. I have a background in bowling. I was teammates with Mike Shady when we won the national championship at the University of Wisconsin Lacrosse back in 1985. I then dropped out of bowling for approximately 30 years as I was a practicing cardiologist for the last 23 years and recently retired. I was here visiting Mike at one of his clinics in August, and we went out to dinner, and he said, by the way, the bowling alley, which his father had built, was for sale. And it just sat there in my brain, kind of percolating, and I had an opportunity to purchase it, and now I'm an owner of a bowling alley. And I need a liquor license to operate a bowling alley. So that's my background.
Cool.
Well, welcome to Ripon.
Well, thank you. I have bought a house here too.
great.
Great.
Very good, thank you.
Wouldn't be in District 2, would it be?
Just checking.
I have no idea.
How was your home? How's the house?
Any further discussion or questions on this application? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the fermented malt beverage and intoxicating liquor license for Fabian Bowling and Entertainment LLC, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Thank you very much. All right, our next item is a pay application number 8 for the Senior Activity Center Trailhead Project in the amount of $17,002 to Harmony Construction Management. Is there a motion to approve?
I move that we approve the Harmony Construction Management invoice as submitted for $17,002.
Is there a second? Moved by Alan, seconded by John. And just to note, this is listed as the final pay application.
Correct.
Any discussion? John?
Did they do the walkthrough in the final inspection?
Yeah, so there's been, all of that's been done. There's just a couple hanging things that need to be resolved between MSA and the contractor. But this is the final bill, substantial completion, occupancy's been issued, furniture's there. They did wood carving up there today as an activity, so they're beginning to slowly use the facility. Yeah, they've done the punch list,
Did they get the ladies' room?
they got that to do yet.
Taken care
That's still, it's not ours though. We're not paying for that.
Okay.
So that's why this is, they'll get that fixed, but we're not paying for that.
Okay.
So, don't ask. Shh.
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Just a door.
Yeah.
Any further questions or discussion?
Is there
closes.
any message you want to say to the community now about utilizing it, or, I mean, it's, yeah.
All I'll say is Noreen has begun to kind of softly use it, not full steam ahead quite yet. In your packets too, we'd mentioned a couple places, there will be a ribbon cutting for the Common Council and members of the public ahead of the next Common Council meeting at 6 o'clock to officially sort of, just ribbon cut it. But like I said, Noreen, I've given her clearance to use, she can go. There's a few things that still need to be put in up there and to finalize everything, AV and some internet and things like that. But overall, like for wood carving, we're good.
Anyone else? If there's no more discussion, then all those in favor of approving pay application number 8 in the amount of $17,002 to Harmony Construction Management, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Next item is cemetery management software proposal.
Yes, so in your package, you had a staff report regarding a proposal for cemetery management software. So in the budget, we did have $25,000 for implementing or putting in place cemetery management software. The main reason for that was the current method is very outdated and done on index cards, and frankly, it's not a very good way of managing a cemetery from the standpoint of selling and or tracking burials, selling plots, things of that nature. Coming off of our staff go to an annual cemetery conference, they engaged 3 vendors, got quotes there. You can see ultimately we are recommending the use of what's called SIMS. SIMS is a product of Raymaker Associates out of Sauk City. They're very well known and have probably the most comprehensive and best product out there for cemetery management. The proposals in there, you can see that the overall cost would be $16,820, which is less than what was budgeted by a substantial amount. And then the annual fee to continue to maintain it would be $2,500, which is right in line with, or the least amount overall. The 2 other companies that are listed there, we looked at, they didn't have the backing or the history of SIMS. SIMS has been around for a long time, and Wisconsin-based company. They're kind of the gold standard for Wisconsin and cemetery management. So with that, there's the proposal. You can kind of give an idea of what they're looking at doing. There will be a public-facing element to this as well, so we will link that to our website. And interactive mapping, doing it so somebody can search and all of that. Our staff will be taking, the reason this is less is because our staff will be taking the time to go through the cards and scan them and put them into the system to assist with this, to keep the cost down. And then beyond that, I think I noted that there was kind of an interesting, cool vegetation management, which I think is important. One of the things we had our urban forestry report, we did not inventory the cemeteries, so this will provide an opportunity for us to have a tree management and vegetation management aspect of this, which I think is important. We have trees there too, and we have shrubs and a whole bunch of stuff in the cemetery that need to be mapped and maintained. And then the public portal, and then they kind of like come out and scan everything, and then more or less, map it all out, and it's tracked that way. So overall, under budget and a good product, and what we recommend to implement.
Adam, the $2,500 a year fee, where will that be coming out of? Will it be out of Public Works? Will it be coming out of the cemetery?
The cemetery budget within Public Works. Okay. Yeah. We'll just have to remember to budget for it every year.
I really like that. It also supports, anyone wanting to, again, look up with a public search, moving forward. And this will be from the history of the cemetery, right? So for historical purposes, people doing research, it's for the entirety, and anyone buried there, correct?
Yep.
Yeah,
No, it's
double checking.
I mean, it's a big step to, and yes, it does provide a more accessible, I mean, there are things online like Grave Finder or Find a Grave where you can sort of get there, but it's not official, and it's, we can, I think, even link to that, but this will be our own, managed by us, and we just, when it comes to like Grave Finder, all those things, there are little nuances in some where people are buried, where there's a lot of little things that we need to get and put in place here that get missed, and sometimes you dig and you're digging onto a grave that somebody's buried there and you don't know anybody's there. So that's why you need to get this, figured out from our standpoint. But the public side of things too is very important.
Doug?
I do know that there are instances in our cemeteries in which there are two people buried, one on top of the other. Is this system going to catch that?
So I don't think it will necessarily catch that unless we know it happened. The nice thing about Sims is Rainmaker, they offer other products that allow us to, if we have areas of concern that we're like, we don't know where people are buried from 180 years ago or 150 years ago, they can come in and this would be additional cost if we want to do it in future years in addition to the annual fee, but they would come in with a machine that does like some radar that will penetrate the ground and tell you what's under there. So we've talked about that as next phases, but this is a big step, and the cost of that is more and more, and we wouldn't want to do that everywhere. But yes, there are areas where we would like to better understand where things are, specifically where there are, empty sites next to burials and things of that nature. But that's like sprinting. We got to get to
Right, we
walking.
gotta get started. I just wondered, I don't know how common it is, but I do believe that, and I think it was more maybe like a minor child.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there are definitely instances of burials in wrong places and unique situations that we deal with. So,
Okay, thank you.
yep.
I was wondering what the time frame, if we approve this with somebody here manually entering everything, how
Well-
long before?
We want to get rolling on it. I would hope that within 3 to 6 months, we have a solid update and we're up and running. Rainmaker will come in. They don't like these things bleeding out, but I mean, right now is the time to kind of do it. It's a little bit slower, and so that's why it's here. And I would hope within 6 months we have at least the basis of it going.
Now, in the vegetation management and tree, you said that that's mapping where that is. But our Department of Public Works is still doing the lawn care and things like that, correct?
Oh yeah, this is just like making, allowing a layer that scans in trees and things that we own there, and then saying, we can go through and then document like the condition, the size, what needs to be done to the tree, all that. So it's just it's what we did for our other urban forest in parks and boulevards. We would be able to do it here.
I have one more question. So if we expand the cemetery then, is that a separate fee under the interactive mapping? 'Cause
Yeah,
that have to be remapped
I think we
for
would have to
expansion.
likely, work with them on that. And in addition, I think some of this stuff is already platted though, so we would just literally take the map, because that's the other way we run this, is a big giant map with, little parcels. So we could take that as well and put in the already parceled areas. So, I mean, an expansion of anything that hasn't been platted yet or plotted yet, I think plotted, yeah, I think plots. We would put in place now. So, because then if we sell one in an area where there's no one buried, we can document that, so.
Okay.
Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the staff recommendation of the Sims proposal?
I'll move to approve the staff recommendation for choosing Sims.
I'll second that.
Moved by Jonathan, seconded by Doug. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the cemetery management software proposal from Sims, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Next item is the State Street Reconstruction and Bridge Project Design Services proposal. Adam.
Dan had a conflict tonight, so he couldn't be here, so I'll take this one on behalf of Dan. So this in front of you is a professional service agreement engineering for the planned State Street reconstruction, which includes the bridge. Overall, we're looking at a project that would range from $350,000 to $400,000 by the time you add the bridge structure and the actual road repavement. The project engineering, you can kind of see the whole scope of the project, what they will be looking at. This is a little bit of a higher price engineering for a project of this nature because this deals directly with bridges and floodplains and floodways. So because it is a navigable stream, that's considered a navigable stream by the DNR, which is wild, and it discharges into the Silver Creek. There will need to be hydrological analysis done of that entire area there to ensure that if we rip out the bridge and put something back in, it doesn't cause more flooding on one end or the other end. And it's just similar to what we had to do with Tigert and that removal of that facility. The mayor and I did meet with Dan a little bit. He kind of explained all of it. So it's a little more extensive than what we would be used to on just a general road project because it is generally a bridge or a passing of some sort that has to be installed. So that is significantly going to, the bridge aspect of this is significantly going to increase the cost. Reason this project has been prioritized, it was put in the capital improvement plan for 2023, is because the inspections that we do on it, including last year's, recommended that in the next year we get this bridge out of there and replaced. So with that, we would pave the road from Union up to West?
West.
Yes. And look at some of the project there and try to get this done in 2023. They would also work through bidding and get that done with us as well as part of the project. So you can see kind of the project schedule. We're on, if we approve this tonight, we'd be on pace to bid in April with construction awarded in May.
Ellen?
I move that we accept the MSA service agreement to complete the design and bidding of the State Street Bridge project and roadway.
I'll second it.
Moved by Ellen, seconded by Jolene. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the MSA bid for the State Street reconstruction and bridge project design services, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Our last item here is a proposed procedure for filling District 2 vacancy. You saw in your packets here that Paige Kane, who is on Zoom with us here tonight, has put in her resignation for the end of February 28th, due to moving out of town. First off, Paige, would you like to say anything?
First off, sorry I can't be there. 2023 is off to a terrible start with germs in our household. But at least we've got a ton of stuff to do. So I'm sure most of you have heard Ryan did accept a new position down in Kenosha. So we will be moving mid-March this year. So I want to continue serving as long as I can, but also give time to, for myself to get all the, the things that I need to do for my family done and to help give ample time for people to hopefully enthusiastically throw their names in to fill this vacancy. So it came to us as a surprise. It wasn't something we were really, even thinking about, and, sometimes life just happens, and but we are, I'm not going to get emotional about it right now, but it has been an absolute pleasure serving with all of you, so.
Thank you, Paige. So you also saw in the packet here the proposed procedure for filling the vacant seat, fairly similar to what has been done in the past. you can see the timeline there, where we'd advertise the position here between January 18th and 25th, accepting applications through February 10th, 2023, until 4 p.m. when City Hall closes. Staff would verify the eligibility of the applicants, and then at the February 27th council meeting, each candidate who applied would have 3 minutes to speak on why they would do a good job. And then that person would take office on March 14th. Anyone have any discussion or make a motion to approve the proposal as published?
We've got two motions. One, we got to accept the
Oh,
resignation.
yep, let's do that one
Motion,
first.
and then we'll move on to the procedure.
So would anyone like to make a motion to accept the resignation for Paige Kane?
I move we accept with regret.
I'll second that with a sad heart.
Okay, I didn't finish, but okay.
Back to finish. Then we'll get back to you.
I move that we accept with regret the resignation of council member Kane.
Thank you. So moved by Ellen, seconded by Howard. Doug?
Do we need to make a friendly amendment when that resignation should be accepted on February 28th, 2020?
It's in the letter.
It's in there.
Intended the motion to become effective.
Yeah.
February 20th.
It's in the published.
A good point.
Any discussion?
I'll just say I was grateful that I got to, we joined together, Paige and I did, and it was really an honor to learn with you, Paige, and to serve with you. And I'm sad to see you leave, but I'm happy for you.
Anyone else?
Just looking at the time, we're talking about the timeline now?
No, we're just accepting the resignation.
Okay, nothing.
If there's no further discussion, all those in favor of accepting the resignation with regret, say aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain.
And opposed? That is accepted. All right. Next step is there a motion to accept the proposed procedure for filling the vacancy?
I move we accept the proposed procedure for filling District 2 vacancy,
Thank you.
which will be effective on February 28th.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Ellen, seconded by Jonathan. Doug, do you have a question there?
Yes, just to let the people know, if they want to do this, they will have to file nomination papers sometime in December, so that they could be, if they could be on the ballot for next spring. Am I correct about that?
If they'd like to seek a full
If they
term.
want to actually run for the office,
Yes.
not just fill it out.
Correct.
So this gets them in the door, but then they gotta, if they want to stay, then they gotta do the rest of the stuff in December. Collect the 30 signatures for their district and.
Correct. This
Get on the ballot.
This
This is
appointment
just
would be
for-
for just over 12 months.
Right.
Right.
Just to fill out the term.
Any further discussion?
I'd like some background information as far as, was this procedure taken from what we typically do here at the city?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same procedure minus some dates that Jonathan
It worked really well. Yeah, so this has been done, I think, on the last couple of years, a few occasions, most recently Jonathan here, and so this is kind of the same thing. The timeline is pretty quick, but I think, like the last one, it allows us to get this out there, and if we need to extend it, we can always extend it. That happened the last time. And hopefully not have this bleed out more than a couple months. But yes, this is what's been done.
Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving proposed procedure for filling District 2's vacancy, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. I will say Paige and Jonathan, tell your neighbors there's an opening, because they're who would fill it. All right, let's see, project updates and staff reports. Anything from police department? Naomi, you have anything?
No.
Adam?
Okay. So you all are aware, we made the announcement yesterday publicly, but the Parks and Rec Director position has been filled by Ashton Zine. She plans on starting in early February, so we are excited to have her join our team. She's most recently the Parks and Rec Director for Juneau, Wisconsin, so she's coming here from there. And like I said, we're excited to get her on board. Public Works Director position update for you quickly here. I have January 6th on here as the close date. It's actually tomorrow, the 11th. I apologize. I thought it closed on Friday, but it closes tomorrow. So there's still about 24 hours for somebody, if they're interested, to apply to the position. But in my conversations with PAA, we should be able to move forward with placing that position after tomorrow evening or after tomorrow. So, like I said, Senior Activity Center, we plan to do a ribbon cutting on January 23rd at 6 p.m. for the council to attend. You are all invited. We will notice it, Lud.
Very good.
And then have our meeting at 7 o'clock after. So you're invited up there. Noreen is, planning kind of a brief ceremony, and we'll do a ribbon cutting, and you can tour it if you have not been up there. And like I said, they're beginning to use the facility here. We're just waiting for a couple other things before it's full steam ahead. But little by little, we will continue to move in and begin using the facility. A couple other things here that are going out, you can see in my report. And then the 23rd, we'll have a meeting. Obviously, there'll be a few things on the agenda that I'll follow up with you all on. But it could be quite a busy agenda, so just heads up. Sorry.
I'll be zooming in. I'll be in San Diego.
Okay.
Anything else?
No.
All right.
Thank
Lud, I never asked you. Do you?
No major updates.
All right. Then I do have two appointments tonight for Historic Preservation Commission. First one would be for Steve Reamer, who is at the end of a partial term. This would be for a full-term appointment ending end of October 2025. Would there be a motion to approve Steve Reamer to Historical Preservation Commission?
I'll make a motion to approve Steve Reamer.
I'll second it.
Moved by Howard, seconded by Doug. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving Steve Reamer, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Thank you. And the second one I have for the same Historic Preservation Commission is Matthew Koski. This would be a new appointment to a seat that would again end of October 2025. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve Matthew Koski?
I'll make a motion to approve Matthew.
I second.
Matthew Koski to the Historic Preservation Commission.
Thank you. Jolene, you have a
I'll
second?
second it,
Okay.
sorry. Yeah.
That was moved by Doug, seconded by Jolene. Any discussion?
Could I get some history on Matthew, please?
Matthew is, number one, he is a property owner in the Downtown Historic District on Blackburn Street, which, being on the bid board, which is different but similar, there's a lot of feeling of neglect from the people on that part of the district. They feel underrepresented, so this would help that. He has a background in working with the Historical Society, and he also does a lot of historical furniture type refurbishing and sales, I know. That's what I have.
That's about all I know of him, too.
And I know him personally as a very nice guy
Okay.
and very smart. Any further questions or discussion?
Yeah, I'll just add that I know him from the community as well, and every time I think I go to the Historical Society, I also see him at their events and is involved. He does take an interest in the history, restoring things, and, you know, being thoughtful about that. I know that to be in his personality.
Anyone else? No more discussion? All those in favor of approving Matthew Koski to the Historical Preservation Commission, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's approved. Thank you. That's all I have for tonight. Any future agenda items or comments from council? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Moved by Doug, seconded by Paige. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned at 7:53. Thank you.